Access to justice, or A2J for short, is a vast subject that can command endless discussion depending on whom you're talking to. What I propose to do this afternoon is to focus on the court's role in advancing access to justice in respect of private disputes and the civil justice system. The proportion of those who choose to present their cases on their own has been on the rise. This can also be the result of not just legal information, but also legal analysis being increasingly available online. The traditional system of civil justice was designed with judges and lawyers in mind. As such, it has created numerous barriers and challenges to those who are not legally trained. It is not reasonable to expect the community to undergo a crash course on how to run a civil dispute while managing their lives. A more effective way is to ensure that there are alternative, simpler processes for the community to get access to quality civil justice. While the courts can and do play a proactive role in making sure that justice is accessible, the courts must still remain neutral and impartial in the dispute. The courts can still provide general legal information to help members of the community to make their own assessment. The courts can also facilitate other stakeholders in their efforts to support A2J in the community. The courts have also revamped the IT systems to enable community claims to be filed online 24 hours every day of the year. This ability to file and access cases and documents from any location at any time removes the inconvenience of a user having to come physically to the courthouse, especially for those who are unable to make time to do so. We must recognize that the traditional civil system has its place within the wider system, especially when dealing with complex or high-value claims or disputes. The current system has a range of simplified processes depending on the community's civil justice needs. First, there are what we call general simplified proceedings, which have been available in the magistrate courts since 2014 and extended to district court proceedings last December. After all, having access to quality civil justice does not necessarily mean justice obtained through a judicial decision, which is by its very nature usually a winner-takes-all outcome. The courts have in place a foundationally sound and trusted system that can deliver quality civil justice to the community. Such consistent and thoughtful iterations are the means by which we build on our strong foundations and improve the system's trustworthiness even further. This brings me back to the first of this series of conversations where the Chief Justice spoke on the court's dual roles in society, its more well-known adjudicatory role, and its relatively less discussed but no less important systemic role, particularly to develop and operate a system for the administration of justice that is accessible to all and meets the needs of all. The court's systemic role requires it to be proactive. There are also other solutions which requires the courts to partner and collaborate with the government and its agencies. These are continuing efforts, and conversation sessions like this are opportunities for the courts to take in the views of the community as well as other stakeholders as we deliberate on how to enhance the delivery of accessible quality justice to the community.
Important aspect of access to justice is legal information. And the main issue, arguably today, for self-represented persons is not enough legal information. I think that might have been the case a while ago. But the real issue is too much. Too much information coupled with an inability to discern what is relevant, up to date, and authoritative, and specifically automated document assembly. Okay, so what is this? This is where a team of jurists and also developers, and by developers I mean people who can code, people who understand interface between the users and the website, to develop an online document that consists of a series of factual questions which are designed to help users respond with the necessary information to submit a court document.
Do we really want a society where lawyers are expected to and eventually only handle high monetary value complex cases? Or is there value actually in still ensuring we remain relevant at all levels and give options to those who may want to help in more and more areas? May not be good for the development of quality justice as a whole. It may well be efficient and fast, but I hope we ask the question of whether will it be at the expense of quality outcomes and development of our legal jurisprudence in the longer run. I can't overstate the importance of community agencies playing hand in hand with, in a way, working with lawyers in terms of access to justice for the vulnerable. I shared that earlier about how the community legal clinics, they actually go do home visits with social workers. They find out what exactly is the situation on the ground, and a lot of them don't know where to go to for assistance. I mean, there are a lot of social help out there, but they don't even know where to go, how to fill in forms. And a lot of times the community volunteer lawyer ends up helping to fill out forms. But that really is just the level of need.
So something that can adapt, be agile and adapt over time, requires good design, requires a lot of forward thinking, and it requires you to plan and design for the future. So we're not trying to solve and design a solution for the present, but you need to design a system for the future. And that's a bit harder to do as a lawyer, because a lot of things that I think are going to happen are not going to be driven by lawyers. So the future that we're talking about, and this is a conversation that we're having national level, global level as well. What's the future of work going to look like? What's the future of society going to look like? All these are going to drive changes.
What I will say is that although at the end of the day we may have different and diverse views and perspectives on this matter, we all share ultimately the common goal of striving for timely, fair, effective and quality access to justice for all the people whom we serve.